Welcome to the first RPAG Scoop of 2025. I'm Ashley, your host and lead investigator on today's case, uncovering the most important updates and insights for our members. It's a brand new year, and what better way to start it off than by sharpening our skills and gathering those clues to make your 2025 the most successful year yet. To kick things off, I've enlisted two of RPAG's best detectives, Deron Jennings and Alexis Patnode, from our Advisor Service Associates team. They'll guide you through what's new for RPAG, from upcoming events to must-watch videos. Everything you need to stay ahead of the game. So grab your notebooks because this duo is about to crack the case on what's new for RPAG.
Welcome to the What's New segment. My name is Alexis Patnode.
And I'm Deron Jennings. And we are ASAs here at RPAG.
So, what's new? We'll be covering the new Scoop theme, tech enhancements, new videos, a webinar mini-series, upcoming events, resources, and our 2025 hosted webinar dates. First, our new Scoop theme. You might have noticed our Scoop theme is new and improved. That's because we want to get to the bottom of what's going on in the retirement industry and bring you the inside scoop.
Every 2 weeks, we make enhancements to our RPAG portal so that we give you the best service possible. Here's a list of our most recent portal updates. Updated plan details page, seamless fun fact sheet generation, precise expense comparison reports, enhanced copy TPA function and provider analysis, elevated plan fees report module, formatting in FIR, improved customization in the style box. Now moving over to enhanced features and capabilities, we have one new training video for bidder responses in the provider analysis, customizable asset-based tiers in advisor compensation, and new company alias column in the broker-dealer dashboard. If you would like to get this and more of the full details that we have had of our tech enhancements, please go visit our blog page.
We also have some great new videos available on our YouTube and webinar pages. First, how to win business using target date fund suitability with FlexPath Strategies, KC, and Reese. In this video, you'll learn strategies to align target date funds with participant demographics and plan needs to build trust and stand out. You'll also understand how to leverage Larkspur for prospect targeting and access valuable data to grow your business. Next, we have Yield is Destiny featuring PGIM. Explore how elevated yields and moderating rates signal opportunities for fixed income investors. You'll also learn how active managers uncover relative value across sectors for solid risk-adjusted returns. We also have our Redefining Client Services with Great Gray, which is a session from our national conference. In this video, you'll embrace automation and early savings strategies for younger clients, support phased retirements for baby boomers, and provide personalized, holistic planning across all ages. Act as a coach, actively listen, and use storytelling to simplify complex concepts, fostering trust, long-term engagement, and truly meaningful advisor-client partnerships. Next, we have Strengthening Your Client Service Tactics with our very own Veronica Lee and Deron Jennings. In this video, learn how proactive communication and tailored solutions deepen trust and loyalty with plan sponsors, go beyond basic services with client surveys, education, and proactive problem solving. Navigate the post-election investment landscape is our next video with our partner AllianceBernstein. Understand how the new administration may influence the economy and capital markets, as well as explore areas of growth and strategies for informed decision-making in today's market conditions. Lastly, our lesser-known strategies to improve advisor and client outcomes with Inspira Financial, where you're able to add unique strategies to navigate plan terminations, cash out limits, and emergency savings plans to your playbook. Gain a forward-looking perspective on regulatory changes shaping 2025 and beyond.
We have a new webinar mini-series that is going to be called Road to Success, helping you fine-tune your advisory engines and get you ready for 2025 like a champion. Here are the 4 sessions that we will be doing. The first video will be a guide to RPAG on January 15th. I'm very excited about this one because I will be hosting this one along with my colleague, Alexis Patnode, another ASA here at RPAG. And in this, we will be talking about the basic building blocks of using RPAG with basic portal techniques and basic portal navigation, helping you really maximize the portal to your full potential. The second webinar that will be happening in this mini-series is a scorecard diagnostic. That will be happening with another ASA named Brooke Vasahi, in which she goes deep into our scorecards methodology, the funds, the scoring, everything that you really need to know regarding our scorecard. Our third session will be a benchmark pit stop on January 29th. That is going to be with our RFP systems manager, Christian Cardenas, in which he will be taking you through the entire RPAG benchmarking suite. And last but not least, our last webinar will be the social media highway on February 5th with our senior marketing specialist, Ashley Passel. She's going to teach you how to use social media to your advantage and how to better market your business.
We also have some great new resources. Our updated plan limits documents are available to you in our Resource Center. If you go to the Fiduciary Compliance and Design module within our Resource Center, then Plan Limits, you will be able to access these documents. We also have our January retirement times available to you in our Resource Center in the Newsletters and Memos section within the Retirement Times folder. Our retirement times do come out on a monthly basis and are white labeled for you. These documents should be presented to plan sponsors, and for our premium marketing members, we offer auto branding. Lastly, we have a new one-pager out for you called Do You Have the Right TDF for Your Plan? You can find this one-pager within the Content Marketing Plan section of the Resource Center within Flyers/one-pagers. This document is available to you in Word format, so you are able to download and edit as you wish.
We also have our hosted webinar series for 2025 for our premium marketing members only, in which you will be able to let your plan sponsors attend so that they may get CE credits. And the dates we have are February 25th, May 20th, August 5th, and November 11th. The topics will be announced at a later date.
Thank you so much for listening to our What's New segment. Now back to Ashley.
Now that Alexis and Duran have uncovered all the exciting updates for our members, it's time to dig deeper into a new mystery: how changes in the cabinet could impact ERISA laws. Joining us from the Retirement Learning Center is the brilliant Jenny Kiffmeyer, who will be uncovering and decoding these shifts and what they're going to mean for retirement plans. So stay sharp, detectives. Jenny's insight is a clue you're not going to want to miss.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm Jenny Kiffmeyer, and this is the case of retirement and the Trump administration. So now that the election is over, we are all focused on how President-elect Trump will staff his new administration. And we're also looking to see what the Senate and the House will do now that they are both controlled by the Republicans. So today, what I'd like to do is just go through some of the key leadership roles that President Trump will need to fill, and then talk about some of the key policy issues that the administration will need to face. So we are going to talk about how President Trump will be staffing the new administration. Now that the election is over, we know that he has to fill these open positions. And there are two key positions that will need to be filled. One relates to the Secretary of Treasury, and the other is the Secretary of Labor. We know that Scott Bessent, I should say, has been tapped to be the United States Secretary of Treasury, and also that Lori Chavez Dreamer has been tapped to be the United States Secretary of Labor. At least they're the presumptive nominees. Now, underneath them are three critical sub-cabinet positions that affect retirement policy. Those are the DOL Assistant Secretary of EBSA, or the Employee Benefits Security Administration, the Department of Treasury Deputy Secretary for Retirement and Health Policy, and also the Director of the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, or PBGC. Now, we'll probably have to wait until Mr. Bessent and Ms. Chavez Dreamer are confirmed to actually learn who will fill these positions. But regardless of who fills them, we know that there are several key policy issues that they will need to address. First off, for the Employee Benefit Security Administration, the important issues there, number one, will be environmental social governance investing, and also proxy guidance. Now, many Republicans have been critical on the DOL's latest stance on this position. Even though we've got final regulations, I do anticipate there will be additional action on ESG and proxy guidance. Next up is Fiduciary Investment Advice Rule. Now, the application of the DOL's most recent fiduciary advice regulation has been stayed by 2 Texas district courts, and many believe that it is unlikely for the regulation to survive the court challenge. There's been considerable pushback from Republicans on this regulation, and so the new administration really has to decide whether it will back the existing regulation, go back to the drawing board and rewrite portions of it, or just scrap it altogether. So much more to come on that. Another key issue is pension risk transfer. Now, Secure Act 2.0 tasked the DOL with reviewing its current guidance, which is Interpretive Bulletin 95-1, and to determine whether or not that guidance needs to be rewritten. Well, earlier in the year, in June, the Department of Labor delivered a report to Congress saying that it really wasn't sure if that guidance needed to be rewritten and it needed more time to evaluate it. But the DOL does have a revision on the agenda for 2025. I'll point out as well, there are a couple of lawsuits challenging certain large risk transfer transactions. And so we definitely will see more activity on pension risk transfer in the year. Next up is lump sum notices. Here again, Secure Act 2.0 provided that the Department of Labor should enhance reporting and disclosure requirements for defined benefit plan lump sum windows. And the DOL also has this on its project agenda for 2025. So with respect to the Employee Benefits Security Administration, or the EBSA, the important issues facing that agency are number 1, environmental social governance, investing, and proxy voting guidance. Now, many Republicans have been critical of the Department of Labor's latest position on ESG and proxy guidance. Even though we do have final regulations, they are very critical of those regulations at this point. So I do anticipate we'll see some activity there. Next up is the Fiduciary Advice Rule. Now, if you recall, the DOL's most recent fiduciary advice rule was stayed by 2 Texas district courts, and many believe that the regulation will not stand up or will not survive a court challenge. So there's been considerable pushback on these regulations. And so the new administration has to decide, number 1, will it defend the existing regulations? Number 2, will it go back to the drawing board and try to rewrite it? Or number 3, will it just scrap the regulations altogether? Another key issue facing the EBSA is pension risk transfer. Under Secure 2.0, the DOL is tasked with reviewing its current guidance related to the purchase of annuities, and that guidance is contained in Interpretive Bulletin 95-1. Earlier this year in June, the Department of Labor provided a report to Congress where it had taken a look at Interpretive Bulletin 95-1 and decided it couldn't decide whether it needed revision, so it needed more time for the review. So we still have that on the DOL's agenda for this year in 2025. Keep in mind also there have been a couple of lawsuits challenging certain large risk transfer transactions. So much more to come on that area. On lump sum notices, Secure Act 2.0 also directed the Department of Labor to enhance reporting and disclosure with respect to DB lump sum windows. And so this is also an agenda item for the EBSA this year. Another important issue is retirement savings lost and found implementation. Also under the Secure Act, the Department of Labor was charged with implementing what's called the Retirement Savings Lost and Found. And it initially asked for plan sponsors to provide voluntarily information on their missing or lost plan participants in order to populate this database. Just recently, the Department of Labor was given access to IRS forms 8955-SSA. Now, these are forms that plan sponsors file with the IRS to report participants with deferred vested benefits. So that's really going to help them populate this database. But the DOL does continue to hope for voluntary information from plan sponsors as well. And finally, for the EBSA, they also are tasked with disclosure revision. Under Secure Act 2.0, all the Treasury Department, the Department of Labor, and the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation are charged with reviewing, reporting, and disclosure requirements for all retirement plans, with the hope of consolidating and simplifying those requirements for plans to make it much easier for plan sponsors to comply. Now let's move on to the Treasury and IRS and what those important issues will be for them. Number one, probably the biggest issue is the expiring tax cuts at the end of 2025. If you recall, President Trump in the prior years gave us the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. And those tax cuts are going to expire at the end of 2025. So the administration has to decide whether it will continue those tax cuts, maybe continue some, but not all of them, or pull back on those tax cuts. And all of this has to be decided within the context of extreme budget constraints right now. So we'll see what happens with those tax cuts. Next up is the Secure Act implementation. As I've already alluded to, there's a lot of things yet to do with Secure Act 2.0. As well, the Treasury and the IRS will need to continue to release guidance on implementation of the various provisions. Next, we have what's up for the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation, the important issues they will be facing. Number one is to reduce or reform the PBGC premium structure. Now, the PBGC right now is running at a massive surplus in single employer premiums at $54 billion for fiscal year 2024. And for those of you who have followed this, in the past, the PBGC tend to run in a deficit. So this is quite a swing from prior years, $54 billion surplus. And this has led some to complain that the premiums are too high and that they should be reduced and that structure amended. So we'll see discussions on amending the PBGC premium structure. Next, we'll probably see discussions on addressing actuarial assumptions for multi-employer pension plans, and those are plans for unions. The PBGC issued proposed regulations way back in 2022, but they were never finalized. And so the new leadership will need to decide if those regulations will be finalized or if they will remain proposed at this point. So next, let's take a look at the House and the Senate. As I mentioned, both the House and Senate are now controlled by the Republicans, and we have a Republican in the White House. The House and Senate both have key committees that really impact both tax policy and retirement policy. And those key House committees are the Ways and Means Committee and the Education and the Workforce Committee. On the Senate side, it is the Finance Committee and the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, or HELP Committee. Now, we have somewhat of an idea of who will be leading these various committees. And again, these committees really come to bear when they're formulating tax policy, especially with respect to retirement plans. So in the House Ways and Means Committee, we will see Jason Smith, a Republican out of Missouri, continue as the chairman, with Representative Richard Neal, a Democrat from Massachusetts, taking on the ranking member role. In the House Education and Workforce Committee, Representative Tim Walberg will take over as chairman, and we'll see Representative Robert Bobby Scott will continue as the ranking member of that committee. In Senate Finance, we have Mike Crapo is expected to take over as chairman, and Ron Wyden will become a ranking member. And finally, on the Help Committee, Bill Cassidy is expected to take over as chairman, and Bernie Sanders will become the ranking member. So as you can see, we're just early on into the administration. The new House and Congress, I should say, the 119th Congress will be sworn into office on January 3rd. So there's much more to come, and I hope you'll tune in next time for the Scoop when we'll have more updates for you. Thank you.
So that wraps up this edition of the RPAG Scoop. A huge thank you to Alexis, Duran, and Jenny for helping us uncover the facts and insights needed to help us with 2025. As we embark on this new year, let's take it on with the energy and focus of true retirement plan detectives. Remember, every clue you uncover is another step towards growing as an advisor and guiding your clients. Thank you for joining us in this new year, and we will see you next month.